So in this video we will learn how to do dilution. So when you dilute something, basically you're taking something that's concentrating it and lowering its concentration. Dilution just means adding water. So as an example, we have here a solution, which is solute plus solvent, of 0.2 molar potassium sulfate. So I want to dilute this to a lower concentration. Sometimes this is called the stock solution because that is what we have available in the lab. So remember, the solute here is the potassium sulfate. The solvent here is water. The solution is solute plus solvent. So in order to make a solution, you need two things. You need to know how much and what concentration. So remember, this is a dilution problem, so we got to go low. We're not concentrating it, we're diluting it. So we'll make this a very simple dilution problem. We'll dilute this 0.2 molar stock solution of potassium sulfate to 0.1 molar. The big M is moles over liter. And how much? Let's just make 100 milliliters of it. So in order to make this solution, we'll use this equation, M1V1 is equal to M2V2. Okay, so M1V1 represents your stock solution. How much of the stock solution are you going to take out? The M1 is the concentration of our stock solution. In this case, if you remember, looking at the label, it's 0.2 molar. Okay, we're talking potassium sulfate here. How much of that potassium sulfate are we going to take out of the bottle? Okay, what do we want to make? So I've decided that we're going to make a 0.1 molar potassium sulfate solution from a 0.2 stock solution, so it's 0.1 big M. And how much is going to be 100 milliliters? I've decided that we're going to make 100 milliliters. So we're going to make 100 milliliters of a 0.1 molar potassium sulfate solution with what we have in the lab available. And what we have in the lab available is 0.2 molar. This is known as the stock solution, 0.2 molar potassium sulfate. So let's solve for V1 here. So I want to make 0.1 molar. I want to make 100 milliliters of it. So again, this is what I want to decide to make. And isolating V1, we're going to put the 0.2 big M down. All right, the moles per liter big M cancels out with the moles per liter big M. And so we have 0.1 times 100 divided by 0.2. Doing that on your calculator, you'll find that you get 50 ml. So this is how we do our recipe, because this all now just becomes a matter of following a cookbook or following a recipe. You see, we need to take 50 milliliters out of the 0.2 molar stock solution. So let me just write that down here. We're going to take 50 ml from our stock, which is 0.2 molar potassium sulfate. 50 milliliters of 0.2 molar potassium sulfate. Remember, our total volume is 100 ml. We're making 0.1 molar of it. So the next thing is we need to fill it up to 100 milliliters. It's a dilution, so we fill it up with water. So plus, we're going to add 50 ml of water. Okay, the good stuff, the distilled water. So that's a practical application of the dilution equation. So let's go ahead and do this now. So here's our graduated cylinder. Take 50 milliliters. So this is my water. So dilution, once again, is just adding water to the substance to lower its concentration. Here's my stock. Okay, so add 50 milliliters of this and fill it up to 100 milliliters. Usually we do 50 milliliters of the stock and then we add water, but I'm kind of doing it a little bit the opposite way. Okay. But either way, we have 100 milliliters of our solution. So I have 100 milliliters of my new solution, and it's potassium sulfate, but now its concentration is not 0.2 molar, but 0.1 molar. So now I like to do some mixing. So what I like to do, or how I like to mix, is I take some parafilm paper and I just sort of invert it a couple of times, maybe 3, 4, 5 times to get some good mixing going on there. And now I'm ready to go. I'm done. Just put it into our new bottle. All right, and now we have our new solution that we've made. We've diluted the 0.2 molar potassium sulfate stock into 0.1 molar, and we've made 100 milliliters of it. So always label. So I'm going to label this as 0.1 molar potassium sulfate. Okay, we're going to label it and then sign it. And sign, by sign I mean initial and date, so that we know who made it and when it was made. So now we have made a solution that is 0.1 molar concentration. The amount that we made is 100 milliliters, and we made it from our stock, which is 0.2 molar potassium sulfate.